How does, the POA management is a full-time job, managing POAMs. It's in your security introduction here. As usual, second to the last paragraph there that shows different roles. Here is the POA management analyst. It's a full-time job. So, do you remember the POAM is a tracker to, for findings to make sure to make sure they are not forgotten, and that they are tracked and that they are not forgotten. So, it's a full-time job. Somebody at the head office could be hired to do POA management. Now, the POAM is simply a simple POAM in your package here. Here's a simple POAM. Simple. Okay. And now, the elements include weaknesses, the issues, the findings number themselves, the POAM number, the weaknesses, the issues, the priority, whether it's low risk or moderate risk level, the point of contact that will correct the issue, resources required that will, maybe the number of hours they need to correct it, or the dollars, somewhere it will be in dollar form. If the person will take, if this will take 8 hours to correct, and somebody that will correct it will charge $100 per hour, it will then be $800. Okay. Schedule completion date. And then sometimes you have actual completion date, you have resources required, you have milestone to get there, where it was identified the status. Okay, so and it is an ISSO can track this for their own systems, but they still need to send it to a POA management analyst who will, maybe at the head office, who will confirm that these issues have truly been closed before they turn from open to closed. So the ISSO can add a column to these things and track and send these issues to this POAM to the stakeholders that need to correct this, whoever is the point of contact. If something has to do with database, a DBA will be the point of contact. Okay. If it's got to do with, programming, the developer will be point of contact. So the ISO can send this POAM to them maybe once a month to provide updates, can add a comment or update here. And if they said if corrected, he or she will obtain the evidence of correction from them and then pass it on to the POA management analyst at the head office, or turn it to closed, but it will not be closed until it's validated. And then the validation will be done by the POA management analyst or an assessor for that system, who will make sure that the evidence provided actually support the closure of these issues before it's approved to have been closed. Okay. So that person that manages, that process and um, confirm that things have been closed is a POA management analyst. It can be done at the system level by ISSOs, but it could also be done at the head office by the POA management analyst. So these fields you are seeing there are we call them POAM elements or POAM contents. What every POAM contains could be this simple. It could also be more fields. Like you see here in the this one for POA management practice folder, this one. You can see this one has more columns, but the same thing, the same POAM. This has witness, point of contact, you saw that one. See, resources required is in dollar in this one. Schedule completion date, actual completion date. They were planned to correct it at this date, but it was actually completed at this date. The milestones to get there, and then where you were identified and the status. Here they use completed. In this one, they use closed. So we call those POAM content like this: witness number, creation date, description, point of contact, schedule completion date, actual completion date. So these are possible fields you can have in that spreadsheet, but they don't need to have all of them. You can just have few relevant ones that that works for them. So a POAM is a necessity in to track findings in the government space. Commercial will call it CAP, Corrective Action Plan, CAP, but government will call it POAM, Plan of Action and Milestones. So, and it's just a plan of action to correct the issues and a milestone to get there. For instance, if you want to build a house, you're going to have at least 3 milestones. The first milestone might be to lay the foundation. Second milestone will be to raise the wall. The third milestone will be to put the roof. You always have milestones like that. And that's what you're seeing in milestone with completion date. If you want to do something, it's not done in one sweep. You have to break it down into milestones that will get you there. So it's a requirement. In step 6 of of the ATO process, of the RMA process, authorize. POAM is a requirement there. So, and like I said, it can be in a spreadsheet like that, it can be in a Word document, but government actually builds they build application for POAM management. So after putting in the spreadsheet like that, they then enter it into the application. So application or tools. Government has tools. For example, you have Trusted Agent FISMA TAF as a tool, a POAM management tool. But it just doesn't manage the POAM alone. It manages the whole package, the whole RMA process. There's a part of it for categorization. There's a part of it for control selection. There's a part of it for control implementation, assessment. So it's a whole package management. You manage the whole package, the whole RMF steps, but we call them POAM management tools because ultimately what we want to use to manage is the POAM. One of the things we want to use to manage the POAM, the control that fails have to have a POAM, but it manages the whole package. So sometimes it's called package management tool. And so example is staff used by Office of Person Management, OPM, Exacta IA Manager, Exacta, Information Assurance Manager, or Exacta. Pronounce Exacta. Is used by Social Security Administration. Then you have this CFAX being used by Center for Medicare and Medicaid. And this cyber security asset management, CSAM, is built by the Department of Justice, but is used by most federal agencies now. It's owned by the Department of Justice, but most federal agencies get instances of it for their own use. CSAM. So it's used by DHS, by Commerce, by Agriculture Department, education department, they are all using this system. There's another tool like that, call it risk. Risk vision is used by, uh, you know, is a GRC tool similar to used by Veterans Affairs, Risk Vision, and NIH. While Department of Defense, DoD uses EMAS, Enterprise Mission Assurance Support Service, EMAS. Everything's about mission for them, for the military people. So EMAS is their own power management tool or package management tool. So, and these tools, they work the same way. If you have used one before, you can intuitively use another one. If you understand the RMF steps, you can use another one without being trained in it, because they kind of follow the RMF steps. So if you use one before, you can always use another one easily. So employers will just want to make sure you are familiar with at least one of them, so you can apply that knowledge to the one, whichever they are using, out of these ones mentioned there. So, and then you see. So, for example, here's, and the problem needs to be created within 30 days of the weakness being, security weakness being final. Security weakness report being final, they have to, within 30 days, they must create a POA&M, so they don't forget it. And this is true, this staff. What you see in there now is exactly, they just entered, after it's been spread, like they just copy it to the tool, into the tool, like this. This is the weakness number you see here. This is the weakness itself. What you see here. This is the status. It's in progress here, which is what you see here. Okay. So just put those things in there. And then you click submit, save. After you finish one, you become blank, and then you can now do second one. First one done, do second one, third one. Each time you finish one, you click save, and you save in the database for the tool. So, and the POA&M process, the POA management process, these are different things that can result in POA being created, but it's the process. It includes, how you manage POA includes identifying the weaknesses. You've got to have the findings, security-related findings from different whatever assessment is conducted. And then you have to assign, next thing is to assign responsibility, the point of contact, who will correct it. POC. So, and then identify the risk level for your weakness. Like I said, the point of contact, will be the person in the best position among the stakeholders to correct it. If it's something they need to make certain changes, that will be assigned to system administrators. If it's a database issue, they will assign to a DBA. The determine risk level. Risk level normally comes with the findings. Say you have low risk, moderate risk, high risk. And that drives their priority. High want it to be corrected first. This level. High one typically need to be corrected within 30 days. Medium one can take 60 days. Low ones can take up to 180 days. Determine the risk level. Prioritizing weakness. Priority is a function of the risk level. And then, like I just establishing the remediation plan, strategy. They come up with the plan to correct the issue. And part of the plan or strategy to correct the issue will include determining the root cause of this weakness. Why do we have this weakness? And then why? And we have to ask the why question. Why do we have that? Okay. Why do we even have that one? So I have to drill down to the bottom of the cause, to the root, before you can solve the problem. Otherwise, you're going to be treating the symptoms and not the issue itself. If you don't ask the root, the why question to get to the root cause, so you can solve the problem from the root. They identify the actions, activities that need to resolve the issues. So once you know the cause, you can now come up with the actions, necessary actions to solve it. Identify the resources needed to fix the problem. Resources, money and human resources. Sometimes you need to bring in people from outside to help to help in correcting the issue. Sometimes the stakeholders for that system can handle it. And then develop at least one milestone for all the poems. The next step, develop the next step. And then develop a timeline for that next step. You have uh, the milestones with date like that, and then record the weaknesses and remediation plan in the poem. So once you come up with the strategy, with the plan, which involves all of those, you don't take the corrective action needed. Work the plan now. Do what you planned. And then change the status to completed once they are completed or closed, completed. And report the status as required by different, reporting requirements, like maybe for purpose of FISMA metrics, FISMA report, or whatever it is. So it's reported from time to time, the status. So, and part of the process is once it's been closed, before it's closed, like I said, the evidence supporting the closure has to be validated, confirmed, to make sure they truly address the closure, and can be done by the assessor for that system or by a poor management analyst, for the organization as a whole. So these are different assessments that can result in having security-related weakness that will go into the poem. Here and there, senior semi audit, GAO review, OMB review. This is the priority we're talking about before. It's a function of the risk level, but then you have these repeat audit findings. Something that was repeated, that was reported in the previous assessment, which comes up again because they were not corrected. So repeat audit findings. So that one normally gets higher priority because they get worse. If they were low before, they now become moderate. If they were moderate risk before, they become high because they were not corrected. So when issues get older, they become worse. It's like sickness. Untreated sickness make you more sick. So they get worse. So that's why they have higher priority if they are repeat audit findings. And the system owner is in charge of their system, but the ISSO is the one helping them to manage it for security, or make sure the POA&M has been created and been tracked for their systems, you know. And let's say the validation before it can be turned to completed, validation has to be done for the evidence, can be performed by the security analyst for the assigned to that system, or by a POA management analyst, or by independent body. It could be independent verification and validation project, IVMV. That project is just about obtaining the evidence for POA closure and confirming that they have been closed. Okay, you can bring in contractors just to do that, to look at the evidence and confirm they've truly been closed. They will validate and confirm that the issue, the evidence support the closure. Look at the evidence, verifying the evidence, and make sure they support the closure. And the reporting status within the tool, different reports. You have aging report. This one shows the POA&M that have been delayed. The POA&M that have their scheduled completion date in the past, those are delayed already. The scheduled completion date should always be in the future. But then it can only go so far. It can only go within the acceptable time frame. If it's a moderate, if it's a high categorized, sorry, if it's a high risk finding, it needs to be corrected within 30 days. If you're going to go beyond the 30 days, after 30 days, you can no longer move it forward. If it's moderate, you have 60 days. After 60 days, you can no longer move it forward. You have to get an exception or a waiver at that point. Okay. To kind of help you to extend it, you might get a waiver. Not to correct it, you might get an exception. So, but you have to keep moving forward. If it's in the past, then they will be showing as delayed. So by the time the ISSO or the POA management analyst get the status, the updates on these POAMs, if they be corrected, they get the evidence. If people need more time, you ask them how much time do you need? Oh, give us another 1 week. They can just make the scheduled completion date, push it forward by 1 week. But they want to make sure they're in the future, because if they're in the past, they're going to show as delayed. That's what this report is showing. Weakness aging report. On delays. In this case, we delay within 30 days, delay within over 30 days, delay over 16. None of them is zero. None of them is delayed. Everything is zero here, which means all the scheduled completion dates are in the future for this system. And then you have the weakness completion report. So, which shows which ones are due for completion in the next 30 days, 60 days. So you only and still using this report is also still using this scheduled completion date. It's saying which one has scheduled completion dates in the next 60 days, next 30 days. Okay. So using that to report, only one is due in the next 180 days. And then you can have this weakness by audit report. You can search the tool based on the audit report, or you have the weakness search report. You can search the tool with whatever parameters related to the POA&M you are looking for. Maybe the year, maybe can use one of these parameters to search to get a POA&M. Weakness ID, creation date, then you get a report. Okay. And like I said, the people that correct the issues are system stakeholders like system administrators, network administrators, database administrators. All these stakeholders are the ones that correct the issues. The ISSO just coordinate to make sure is getting updates. He or she is getting updates on on the POA&M and changing the status to close when necessary, when evidence supports that. So there's somebody in charge of security at the head office called CISO. This CISO has responsibility for security overall in the organization. They normally report to the head of IT CIO. They report to the chief information officer because security is part of information security is part of IT. So, but then the ISSOs who are working different group with different system owners have a indirect reporting line to the CISO. CISO is usually at the head office. They have their own staff, but they can also give instruction, binding instruction to ISSOs in different departments. Anyone that works in security role is indirectly under the CISO, even though they might be working directly under a system owner. Because that's the head of cybersecurity in the organization. And this IVMV project that I say can be used to validate that the issue has been corrected. And it says, refer to the POA&M, the screenshot that show you the tab, example, and system. Yeah. You see what those tools look like. You already saw a bit of tab, but you can see more of it here. In this POA management, that's POA management folder.